Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Music City. Whether you are watching with us right now in real time or you're going to pick it up later, I know that you're watching it in the right time. We're in the right time with the right people in the right place or something like that. I know it goes like that. That's not the song we're singing. Don't get excited or anything. We're singing something else, though. I think you'll like it. Sing along with us. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will give it, I will live it, all along the way. And if we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we've got to walk it, talk it, give it, live it, every day. Talk talks and walk talks, but walk talks louder than talk talks. Talk talks and walk talks, but walk talks louder than talk talks. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will give it, I will live it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it, every day. We've gotta walk it, talk it, give it, live it, every day. We've got to walk it, talk it, give it, live it, every day. You remember that one, don't you? I do. I sing that one in my sleep, I think, Gill. I'm not sure. I've got a few announcements for you this morning. Some of these are really, really awesome announcements, so you want to pay attention. The first one, of course, if you've been joining us for our Unity chats on Sunday mornings at 10:30, you can log into Zoom and hang out with friends and talk before the service. And then at 11 a.m., everybody puts it on mute. Put it on mute, people. Everybody puts it on mute and comes and watches the service together. But here's something really exciting. We're going to start bringing a few people back in the building. Woo, right? That's a little woohoo. We're going to start small, so don't get that excited. We're going to make room for 20 people to join us next Sunday. That's above and beyond the crew that's already here to put on. So crew, don't sign up for tickets, okay? You got your ticket because we want you here. But if you would like to come and join us, and we'd love to see your face, there are ways to sign up for a ticket. You have to have a ticket. You can go to the Facebook page and go to our events and click on Find Tickets. Or you can go to unityofmusiccity.ticketleap.com. Let me repeat that. Go to our Facebook page, go to events, click on Find Tickets, or go to unityofmusiccity.ticketleap.com and be one of the 20 folks who comes in and we get to see your face. That will be it'll almost be like homecoming, I think, is what it'll be like. The Lunch Bunch Book Club is starting a new book this Wednesday at 11:30. I've already bought the book just from the title alone. I thought the title was so great that I bought the book. It's called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And so this Wednesday, if you can, join the Lunch Bunch by Zoom. There are details about that in the emails that get sent out every week. Or call the church office if you want more information. The Healing Arts Ministry is sponsoring a virtual wellness clinic the second Friday of the month using distance energy techniques. So send your requests to the ham email at uomcenergywellness@gmail.com. The prayer chaplains are always available for your prayers, pandemic or no. They're like the U.S. Postal Service. Rain, sleet, snow, it doesn't matter. The prayer chaplains will be there for you. If you have a prayer or a concern that you would like the chaplains to be made aware of, then just email that prayer request to uofmcprayerrequests@gmail.com.
On Tuesdays at 7 p.m., the Empowering Self for Personal and Community Change Zoom meeting. Valerie White and Margie Hart are coordinating that, are facilitating that, so contact them for more information. There are Zoom meeting details in the weekly email. Here's the second really cool. All of the announcements have been cool. I don't want any announcement to feel slighted, all right? But here's the second really, really cool one. We're going to have a drive-through donation day. You know, one of the things that made us who we are when we were able to meet in this building together is that we reached out and helped others who needed it. And so we are going to have a drive-through donation day. This is on Saturday, August 29th. Put it on your calendar. From 11 to 2. We're going to collect items for all the organizations we support. The food pantry, we need non-perishable food items. Souls for Souls, bring some gently used shoes. New Leash on Life. Andrew Jackson Elementary School, we need pants for both boys and girls in sizes 10 through 16 or small adult. And so there's going to be information coming out about specific items that are needed, but put that on your calendar, August 29th. One of the other ministries that we work with a lot is Rest Stop Ministries. They're having their annual gala, and they've asked us to announce to you Hope Sees. That's the name of the gala. It will be held on September 12th at 7 p.m. It's going to be an inspiring evening. They have had 5 years of serving others at Good Hope Farms. And there's going to be musical performances and stories of hope. So if you can make it out to that, please join us. Finally, if you are a member and have not cast your ballot for sale of our land or property, please do so. We need a 75% response rate, so contact the office for that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and do our offering affirmation. I've written it down this week. Those of you who were watching last week know that one of the changes that has happened, one of the technological changes, is that you need bionic eyes to read anything that's on that screen back there now. So my bionic eyes, or my bionic brain, was smart enough to write it down on this piece of paper. So hold your abundance in your heart and in your hands and say along with me, I am open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. That's quite enough of that. Let's sing something, shall we?
Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, the winds of our truth have blown. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, this circle of love will go on and on. Time and distance cannot erase the love and compassion we feel in this place. We'll hold the light for all to see. Connected as one, we'll always be. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, the winds of our truth have blown. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, this circle of love will go on and on. This circle of love will go on and on.
For our sacred reading today, we have a poem by Maya Angelou. I'm sure you're familiar with her. I still feel her presence. Even though she's left this earth, I still feel her around us. Here's the affirmation, if you want to kind of say this wherever you are, in your heart or out of your mouth. I share the experience of humanity with every person on earth. Say that with me. I share the experience of humanity with every person on earth. This is called human family. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious. Some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe, and lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love and lose in China. We weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea, and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways, we differ. In major, we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good to see everyone in the room. Nice to feel everyone joining us wherever you might be. In the spirit of our sameness, which is love, let's just take a few breaths together and ground ourselves in this present moment. No other moment will ever be the same. And so we agree together in mind to name and claim the love experience we would choose next. It's the love of the Christ Spirit that brings forth this vision. We experience it together. Our success is assured. Prosperity is our nature. And any ideas of failure fall away now. We claim together that we are entering the best of life now. And just as we are willing to release fear, the new path is literally paved before us in the energy of our willingness to receive its direction. In the energy of our willingness to receive its direction. Divine Mind now magnetizes every experience of good to us, as us, through us, and our commitment to creating magnificent life. In our oneness, we experience the full bounty, the fullness that only love can provide. And together now in the silence, we enter into that fullness that love provides in the silence. in the fullness love provides. In our stillness, in the silence, in fullness, love provides. Who knows but that we were brought together to the kingdom for a time such as this? The kingdom of our own highest manifested life expression, the kingdom of our inspired action that works for all, the kingdom of love, the kingdom of light, the kingdom of plenty. Who knows but that we were brought to the kingdom for a time such as this? And so it is.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Always there for you. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Peace I leave with you. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Always there for you. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Peace I leave with you.
Thank you, Ryan Gill and the Harmony 4, for the beautiful music once again today. Beautiful sounds. And as I was standing there listening, I was thinking about, I think all of those songs were written by Judy Blackwelder, right? So Dr. B, we love you. Yes. What I was really thinking about while I was standing there is how many people have been touched by her legacy. Not only her music, but what I was thinking about is her smile. Her smile. Think about all the people that have been touched by that beautiful smile. I'm one of them. And I know everyone in this room is too. So we love you, Dr. B. And we thank you for your gifts and for your love. And as we talk about balancing today, I was reminded of a time in my life where I was trying to get my balance in a new world. Many of you may know that in 2018, the beginning of the year, I moved to Florida for a brief stint and doing HIV work in Tampa in the Central Florida area. And very shortly after I moved to that part of the country, I was asked to give a talk for Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day, which is in March every year. And in the 10 or so years that I had worked in HIV, I had never spoken on that particular aspect of HIV and HIV awareness. And it just so happened that it was for the largest HIV service provider in the state of Florida. And it just so happened that they absolutely adored the community liaison who was in the role before me. And so it was made very clear that I had big shoes to fill. And the only thing that I could think of to say was that he never walked in stilettos. It's no problem. But it really kind of was. And I was nervous. And I prayed the same prayer that I tend to pray. And that is, God, guide my thoughts, my perceptions, my words, such that my heart can be revealed in this space. And I had my statistics and I had my stuff. And it was this large ballroom, and it was a dinner event, and there were probably 150 or so women and girls. And it was beautiful because our youngest was like 4, and our oldest was probably 94. And so it was a beautiful spectrum of perspective. And I walked out on the stage, and I had my clicker, and I clicked to the first slide, and I turned around, and I said something that I had never intended to say, and that was, y'all know what? Women are going to change the world. I thought, that's a great start. Now where are you going to go? and because everybody leaned in, and they thought, yeah, and I said, and so tonight, it's really important that we're here to talk about how women can be as empowered and as healthy as they possibly can while they change the world. Okay. I said, that'll preach. So that's what happened. And we had a beautiful conversation and beautiful participation, and it was probably the best program that I gave the whole time that I lived in Florida. And I had no idea what I was trying to do other than just relate and just offer what I knew. And I still believe that that's true, not necessarily because female gender necessarily has the power, but because the divine feminine and the balancing of our energy as human beings is the opportunity that we face in a time such as this. The opportunity to rise to our greatness in the balancing of our energy and incorporating more of the divine feminine. And so today, actually, that's what we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk about balancing. And we're going to check in with Reverend Denise first. This morning, she wrote a great piece, and in it, she alluded to the need for a balancing, a recalibration, so to speak. And she mentioned there are more men in political positions than women. News to you all, right? No. There are more white men than people of color. Probably not news to you all. And there are very few LGBTQ plus folks in positions of political decision-making and power. So we have opportunity for these things to be balanced, because if we're going to create a world that works for all, then we have to have perspectives that are representative of all of us in the creation, in the construction. And that's why it's so important that we support women in politics. We support LGBTQ plus family in politics for a time such as this. It's very important, very important. And as Marianne Williamson has shown us, having a spiritual perspective means politics is a perfect place to be, because politics is asking for a balance. Politics is literally crying out for sanity and balance, right? And so what a place of power to be in if we just let our folks off the hook and realize that they're in a place where they can't please everyone, and we're in a place where if we provide more diversity and representation, then that which will better serve the whole, organically emerges. Organically emerges. So we hold that in consciousness together. I told you last week we were going to look at Esther, the story of Queen Esther from the Bible. And of course, Esther is representative of the divine feminine. Because she was also a royal female, she represents metaphysically highest receptive thought. So royalty, the heavenly realm, highest receptive thought. And being a Jew and rising to be the queen of Persia was a miracle in and of itself. A miracle that she was chosen for, P.S. And for those of you who don't know the story, I won't go into much detail, but I will just say that the king who ended up choosing her as his queen only did so after he decreed that a beauty pageant of sorts be held, because he exiled his former queen because she was not willing to appear naked at one of his many banquets. She wasn't willing to flaunt her goods, so to speak, in front of all the drunken men that attended. She refused, and so she was exiled. And so we see in the story that the king at the time reflects the unrefined masculine energy, the domineering, callous, inflexible. And so he decided that there would be a beauty pageant, and out of all the women that entered this pageant, they were prepared for a year to go before him one by one. And so Esther was the one that was chosen. And it was not known when she was chosen that she was a Jew. And it speaks to an interesting part of receptivity, that she was guided to remain silent about her Jewish faith. And as she was brought into royalty, as events turned out, there came a time when the king decided that all Jews were to be persecuted. And through her power of the divine feminine, through the power, the magnetism, the ability that she possessed as the result of being authentically aligned with her true self, she was able to persuade the king, in fact, not to persecute the Jews. And so her people were saved. And this is an interesting book of the Bible as well, because God is never mentioned in the book of Esther. And yet, God is present throughout because of the divine unfolding that Esther was available for. The divine feminine, the availability for the divine unfolding, the divine inspiration for the highest outcome for all. Love this story. Another example with regard to this balancing of power that we have come to find ourselves among and invited to understand. Carolyn Mace, one of my teachers for years, right at the time that we went into quarantine, she launched this series called Riding the Phoenix Out of the Ashes. And the series is basically speaking about how important it is now more than ever for us to be excellent managers of our personal energy and to arrive at a place of balance between the yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, in order to be available for what wants to happen with us. And she introduces this very interesting concept of power that I find fascinating, and that is that we have come from a place of masculine-dominated energy and power through the agricultural age, through the industrial age, into the age of information, and now we are in the age of energy. Everything happens instantly, right? And we're learning about our energetic nature, and it requires that we be able to marry effectively the feminine with the masculine. And we see how in the past, the dominance of the masculine energy in our society has been problematic because it's always been intended to be a balance. And so now we're in this place of realizing this truth and balancing. And she suggests too, and this is fascinating, that all of this began to shift at the time in the 1940s when we discovered how to split the atom. She suggests that because every problem comes bearing its own solution, at the time that humankind discovered how to split the atom and create the atomic bomb, we then had the capability to self-annihilate. And at that exact point in history, there was a divine intervention that began an evolution of our understanding that even though we had the capacity to self-annihilate, why it was so important that we would not. We had to become a people who understood the importance of managing that energy effectively so that we would not self-destruct. And we're in that place now. So we're going to look at some of the interesting events in weeks to come that happened after we learned how to split the atom in the 40s. Some of the things that happened energetically. That's to come. So, I love some foreshadowing. But for now, we're going to look at some of the archetypes from mythology that represent certain aspects of feminine, the divine feminine energy that are our invitation to incorporate. Okay? We're going to start with Demeter, who reflects intuition, nurturing, and tenderness. And she is the mother archetype. And it's so important that we be able to heal our relationships with our mothers, no matter what may be standing in our way. And the reason why is because our mother is the example, because she gave birth to us and gave us our life. The mother is the divine example of us being available to give birth to our highest life and our highest expression in this plane. And so as the result of healing our relationships with our mothers, we become empowered to birth a life at a higher level than what would otherwise be possible because of our resentment. Because the energy of resentment that we can hold around our mothers can be detrimental to what we, as congruent energy beings, are able to give birth to in our own life. I love that. So capitalism, we know, honors the masculine, right? And it can be very frightening for us because of the way we've been socialized to not constantly do, to not produce. But the reality that we're learning, A Course in Miracles says the power is not in doing, it's in being. And that all of our incessant doing really does nothing unless we first are able to be. The being creates the space for the substantial understanding of our highest doing. Our highest doing. So the highest level of consciousness is knowing I need do nothing. And that doesn't mean that we hang out and eat bonbons. Although I've eaten a few during the quarantine, I will say, and enjoyed it. But I think the key part of this passage is the knowing. The highest level of consciousness is knowing I need do nothing, yet be available for what is mine to know. For what is mine to know that can then, and only then, inspire my divine right action. So how are we being in this time? Scared sometimes, anxiety sometimes, peaceful sometimes, right? We're having this opportunity to really take a close look at the way we're being right now is literally enabling what we're creating that's coming next. And it's our choice. So we look at Hera next. Hera represents power, true self-esteem, presence, and charisma. Hera. And you think about presence and charisma. Someone who's charismatic, they just draw life to them, right? They don't really have to do a whole lot, but show up in their authenticity. Charisma, the root of the word charisma is charism of the soul. And when you show up with charisma, you are literally showing up in the energy of your soul, your most authentic place. So very important aspect of the divine feminine, power, true self-esteem, not rooted in what you do, but how you are, right? And charisma. True confidence, which I love this quote about confidence. So I wanted to include it today in case you can use it. And that is, confidence isn't walking into a room thinking you're better than anyone. It's walking in not having to compare yourself to anyone at all. It's walking in not having to compare yourself to anyone at all. True confidence. So Artemis. Artemis represents nature, conservation, nurturing the personal body and the collective body or the earth. Very important, right? We have all this opportunity around what's going on our planet, for our earth. That is all about divine feminine energy. Nurturing the mother that nurtures us. We say sometimes all life breathes together. That includes the earth. The earth literally breathes. Some of us know that. Some of us feel that. Artemis represents that for us. Athena, wisdom, the arts, and culture, right? You think about culture, and especially in our society, how our culture is very white-dominated, such that sometimes we don't even realize there are other cultures to consider within this white bubble, okay? But we have great opportunity in exploring and realizing the value of other perspectives and other cultures within our culture. That's a divine feminine characteristic. Athena represents that. The wisdom to understand that there's your logic and then there's other logic, not just yours, right? There's lots of ways to do it. There's power in the fullness. There's power in that fullness. Aphrodite, sensuality, aesthetics. Really important. Embracing the shadows and the art of forgiveness and non-judgment. Man, where will we be? Where would we be in our society as we become balanced enough to be assertive, to be productive, to be constructive, and to be forgiving and living in a space of commitment to non-judgment? Wow, that's heavy. Do we see that anywhere? Do we see it anywhere? Maybe on our best days we see it in ourselves. Maybe toward my dog. I was going to say, Miles and Moose, they can pretty much get away with anything. I won't judge them too hard. I'll get over it. I won't hold them in contempt. But is that true about people? I don't know. I don't know. In my best moments, it's true about people. We have that opportunity. Persephone, yes, choice. I heard someone say choice. Very true. Persephone represents healing alchemy, the ability to dive deep into unconscious to birth a new self, to literally birth a new self. So it's there. You've always had it, my dear. The Wizard of Oz. For the life of me, I could never figure out what Oprah Winfrey was talking about when she said, "You've always had it, my dear." I was always like, what? You've always had what? She loved The Wizard of Oz. I loved her, so I loved The Wizard of Oz, even though I didn't understand it at the time, forever, right? But there it is. It's always there in our unconscious. It's in our soul, the deepest part of ourselves that's changeless. But do we have the ability to stop, to breathe, to not have to do, makes do. Do we have the ability to simply dive deep? A lot of us are afraid of what we might find if we take a deep dive. But the truth is that we can't find the treasure until we take the deep dive. Persephone, thank you for that part. And finally, Hestia, the personification of sacred fire. Yes. And also the homemaker. So we think about the importance of sanctuary and the opportunity that the divine feminine offers us to create sanctuary. And not just for ourselves. Think how we as congruent, energetic beings have the opportunity to provide sanctuary for others. Minorities. People that they don't think like us. They don't look like us. Matter of fact, they don't even smell like us. Sanctuary. Inclusion. Yeah. Hestia. And Hestia also, being the personification of sacred fire, the warmth. Isn't warmth a beautiful thing? Think about it. People that you think of warmth, and who comes to your mind? Judy Blackwelder. Warmth. There you go. It's a beautiful thing. Seeing the world as our family. Not just our tribe, but literally seeing the population as our tribe. There's some bigness there. There's some huge bigness. Kenya Walker used to say to me, baby, the whole world is my tribe. I don't have a tribe. I was like, well, I have a tribe. And they're down at the bar on Church Street. That tribe. Exactly. And, that was an important time in my life. Nothing wrong with that. There is value to be found everywhere. There's value in every experience and every perspective. So in order to be effective now, we must incorporate the divine feminine. And I said last week, I love this expression, it can be our choice to be chosen. And this week, I heard something that made me laugh, and that is, God calls everybody, it's just only a few of us call him back. Only a few of us call him back. So today, we have this opportunity to call him back. Call ourselves back. Parts of ourselves that we may have been afraid of. And for the men who may think that I'm not talking about you and that this is not for you, this is especially for you, actually. The power of the divine feminine is modeled all around us in women and men. But a lot of times, men have the most opportunity to open up to the realization of the value of these traits of the divine feminine. How could they be incorporated such that you're even stronger? True strength requires softness. True strength requires softness. And it becomes about the shift of ambition to inspiration. the vessel through which God gives birth to a healed world, we are all pregnant with our part. But there has to be a softness. There has to be an availability. No matter what your gender is, no matter what your parts look like, we are moving into a world of energy. And as difficult as it was for me to hear this 10 years ago, I see it every day played out, and I know it's true. We are literally evolving to a place where gender is irrelevant. That's big stuff, but it's true. Think about your deepest attractions, the animation you experience with people. It's about their energy. It's about the compliment. You know? Yeah. Imagine that world where gender is irrelevant. The age of energy and the opportunities that lay there for us, embracing the truth of ourselves as energetic beings. How then do we show up differently? If we are energetic beings and we're living from that place, how do we then approach our health? How does that look different? If we're beings of energy, then we start to create wellness, create health, instead of wait and then address the symptoms of illness. It's this ongoing, proactive creation of health. And the opportunity is the same for the creation of the world that works for all. It's this ongoing realizing, receptivity, availability for the presence and the power of love that naturally inspires the organic manifestations of the world that works for all. Yes. There is great feelfulment in understanding the value of this aspect of ourselves. Michael Beckwith talks about feelfulment. I love that because it's so true. We all want that fullness. We all want to feel that. Abraham Hicks calls it an alignment. Relax. I can do it. Has anybody ever listened to their stuff? I heard an Abraham Hicks live podcast or cast yesterday, a webcast. And I hadn't heard their stuff in a long time. And that music was playing through my house. Relax. I can do it. And then joy, joy, joy. Mm-hmm. And it was beautiful because I started to realize that is what alignment is. Alignment is availability, openness, not focusing on what you see that really, as we talked about last week, isn't even real unless it's love. But sometimes it gets our focus. Sometimes it gets our attention. And what happens to our frequency, our vibration? Right? But being open and available and in alignment with the possibility, with what we're creating, what we're making. Shake and bake. Great fulfillment as we uniquely are, and all in form of alignment with our authenticity, with the truth of who we are, the truth of what we are. So as we incorporate this divine feminine, we celebrate the divine feminine. It's not hard for me to celebrate women. I say that all the time, but I have really had some amazing women in my life. But it certainly can be difficult for me to relax, but I can do it. And I will, and I do. But it's good to remember that until I am relaxed, until I'm available, then all my doing really is in vain. And I think about everything that I've done, and I was like, that really wasn't all that great. I mean, it's okay. Nobody died. But really, if I had just been available, maybe I would have chosen to do something else. If I had just been receptive, if I had just been a little more calm, a little more present, a little more receptive. So post-COVID, right? Whatever that's going to look like. We know it's not going to look like the same as pre-COVID. But you've probably heard, like I have, that there are going to be a lot of divorces and a lot of births as the result of all these people being shacked up together. Oh, yeah, absolutely. West Virginia, Mountain Mama. No, sorry. I was born in West Virginia, therefore I can do that. I can do that. Y'all are like, that's what it is. Okay, well, we're going to have to look a little closer at his mama the next time she's here. So divorces and births. But since we are balancing, and we're realizing our opportunity, and we're realizing maybe our availability and our receptivity to what wants to happen with us, what wants to happen through us, through our realization of our sameness. That was a beautiful poem. Thank you, Maya. We have this ability through this insight and awareness to give birth just the same. Although it might not be babies, but we will give birth after this experience, as this experience begins to show us exactly what it's about. We're seeing that now, you know, we're sifting through it. But the most beautiful baby that we can give birth to is a world that works for all. And that's what we're here to do. So we honor the divine feminine. We honor the divine masculine because we realize that it takes both. And we conceptualize this beautiful refinement of both energies into the higher expressed manifestation. Post-COVID, the baby is a world that works for all. We can do it. Namaste.
While the praise and worship team is coming up, I want to remind you to get your tickets for next week. Know that when we're not on camera, we all look like this. So please come with your mask and join us next week. Sing with us as we end this service.
I will be a force for good in this world. Each day I'll give my best. I will be a source of constant love, bringing hope and happiness. It's more than just the words I say. It's more than just the prayers I pray. It's acts of kindness I do each day. I'll bring peace and joy and love. I will be a force for good in this world. I'll reach out to those in need. I will be a light where darkness lies. By example I will lead. It's more than just the words I say. It's more than just the prayers I pray. It's acts of kindness I do each day. I'll bring peace and joy and love. It's more than just the words I say. It's more than just the prayers I pray. With Spirit as my source, I will stay the course. I will be a force for good in this world.
Wherever you are, put your hand on your heart maybe and say the prayer of protection along with us. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you, God, for opening our hearts and for all we feel. We carry you with us as we leave this place, knowing a love that's so real. Here in this moment, we stand in our truth. We welcome the peace that it brings. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we sing. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we sing.